The dead zone was silent. For 1,000 years, the vast expanse of space between the Outer Rim and the Korai Union's borders had been a graveyard of lost ships, shattered colonies, and dead worlds. No starships dared enter it. The last expedition sent to map the area never returned. Sensor sweeps detected nothing but empty space, deep void, an area too volatile and unpredictable to navigate safely. So when the first pulse came, most dismissed it. A faint rhythmic signal, almost a whisper, echoed through the sensor arrays of a Korai Union listening post on a forgotten asteroid. The scientist had it marked as a glitch, static from cosmic interference. But the signal repeated itself, steady and clear. Return to origin, return to origin. The phrase looped endlessly, encoded in a frequency that defied standard encryption protocols. It was archaic, older than anything in the current star charts, older than the Union's oldest colonies. The historian on site, a curious but cautious mind named Lyra Matan, studied it with growing unease. "It's a beacon," she told the command station through the comm. "But it's from a time we don't understand. It predates the First Empire, maybe even the era of the architects." The station's commander frowned. "Signal from the dead zone? Impossible. That area has been sealed since the last Great War." Still, the signal persisted. Then, 3 days later, it answered. The ESS Antares emerged from faster-than-light space like a ghost from the deep. It appeared just beyond the dead zone's boundary, drifting slowly towards the nearest Korai station. The ship was a relic, an old human vessel classified lost in action 3 centuries prior during the Orion conflict. But something was wrong. The hull shimmered with a dark, iridescent sheen, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The ship moved smoothly through the dead zone without triggering radiation alarms or navigation distortions. It was as if the Antares was immune to the space-time turbulence that shattered other ships. The news spread like wildfire. Alien fleets scrambled to intercept. Sensors buzzed with excitement and fear. The humans aboard, if there were any, had broken every known law of survival in the dead zone. A deep silence fell over the station as the Antares drifted closer. Then the comm crackled. "This is Commander Ilara Voss of the ESS Antares," the voice said, clear, calm, and oddly familiar. "We respond to the call. We are returning home." Shock rippled through the listening stations. Commander Voss was presumed dead. The Antares was presumed destroyed. The message should have been impossible. Captain Rail, an elder diplomat from the Korai, leaned forward. How is this possible?" The ship continued its approach. Its transponder broadcast ancient human designations unknown to current star charts. No known faction claimed ownership. It was a ghost ship, but alive. On board the Antares, Commander Voss stood on the bridge, surrounded by crew members who moved with precision and quiet purpose. They wore uniforms of a style long out of use but carried weapons and devices no one else had seen. Voss stared at a holographic map of the dead zone, her expression unreadable. "We were never lost," she said softly to her first officer. "We were waiting for the signal, for the moment to return." Back at the station, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The species of the galaxy debated their next move. Send a fleet to capture the ship, destroy it, or try to communicate. Fear hung thick. If the Antares was a relic of a forgotten war, what else had survived? Meanwhile, in the dead zone, the signal stopped abruptly. Silence returned, but the Antares kept moving inward. Lyra Matan sat alone, staring at the monitor. "They say the dead zone is a tomb," she whispered. "But maybe it's a cradle, too." As the alien fleets prepared for confrontation, none noticed the faint pulse beginning deep within the dead zone, an echo of the signal, faint but unmistakable. "Return to origin," it whispered again. And the human ship answered. The ESS Antares docked slowly at the remote orbital station outpost called Nara 7, far from the bustling core worlds, but well within Korai Union territory. Every eye in the command center was glued to the viewing, holoscreens as the ship's sleek, dark hull slid into the docking bay. It was a ghost from the past, and a puzzle no one could solve. At the docking bay's entrance, a Korai inspection team in heavy armor waited, weapons ready but wary. The Antares' airlock hissed, and the door slid open smoothly. Out stepped Commander Alara Voss. She was alive. Older, but unmistakably the same woman who had vanished centuries ago during the Orion conflict. Her uniform was pristine, bearing the insignia of the old Earth Space Service, long dissolved after humanity's diaspora. But the quiet confidence in her eyes unsettled everyone. "We come in peace," Voss announced, her voice steady but carrying a weight of authority that brooked no argument. "We have much to explain." The alien scientists and military personnel whispered among themselves. How had the Antares survived? And how had Voss not aged, or at least not in any way the centuries should have marked? Inside the station's interrogation room, Voss sat across from Korai Captain Rail, a man well-versed in politics and war. He was blunt. "You should be dead. Your ship should be wreckage. What happened out there?" Voss smiled faintly, as if holding a secret too immense for words. "We were caught between worlds, in the between. Time folded, space unraveled. Our ship did not die. It slipped through a fracture in reality." She paused, watching his reaction. "We survived in a state you might call suspended evolution." Rail's brow furrowed. "Suspended evolution?" "Yes," she said. "We changed, adapted, became something else." Meanwhile, the station's science teams began their work. They scanned the Antares' hull, marveling at its black, glass-like surface that absorbed all radiation and light. It seemed almost alive, shifting subtly in hue like an organism. Dr. Sellis, a xenobiologist, examined samples taken from the ship's outer plating. "This material isn't natural. It's neither mineral nor synthetic as we know it. It's something new, something that interacts with the fabric of space itself." The crew of the Antares appeared in the station's common areas. Humans all, yet their behavior was strange. They moved with uncanny synchronicity, almost like a hive mind. They spoke rarely, their eyes reflecting a strange calm. Lieutenant Mira, a young human cadet stationed on Nara 7, observed them from afar. "They don't talk to anyone but each other," she whispered to her friend. "It's like they're connected." Voss seemed to command their silent unity effortlessly, a queen in a hive of shadows. The station's communication officer intercepted a scrambled transmission from the Antares' logs. Decoding it revealed fragments of a lost human war, the Orion conflict, erased from most archives. The logs spoke of a mission so desperate it was never recorded, to activate an ancient device known only as the Threshold Engine. The mission had been a failure, at least by all known accounts. But the Antares' logs suggested otherwise. "We were not destroyed," Voss told Rail. "We completed our mission. We triggered the Threshold Engine. It changed everything." Rail leaned forward. "Changed how?" "The laws of physics, time, space, reality itself." Suddenly, the station's systems flickered. Alarms sounded as nearby ships detected strange energy spikes from the Antares. The dead zone's influence was spreading, or something from the ship was bleeding out. Voss raised a hand. "It is part of us now, part of what the Threshold Engine unleashed." Outside, the station's sensors caught movement, fleets from other species arriving, drawn by the Antares' reappearance. Their warships bristled with weapons designed to contain or destroy unknown threats. Tensions mounted. The Galactic Council declared a lockdown. No one was to communicate with the humans beyond protocol. Back on the Antares, Voss gathered her crew. "We have awakened old ghosts," she said quietly. "The galaxy fears what it does not understand. We must be ready." But even among her crew, unease lingered. Some spoke in whispers of visions seen in the between, glimpses of time folding, of enemies no longer bound by linear reality. In the station's observation deck, Lyra Matan stared at the Antares now bathed in the soft glow of the station's lights. "They shouldn't exist," she murmured. "Not here, not now. Yet they do." And as the alien fleets closed in, The human ship that shouldn't exist prepared to slip once more into the shadows of the dead zone, a place where the laws of the universe bent, and the impossible was just beginning. The dead zone was no longer silent. As the ESS Antares powered its way deeper into the forbidden expanse, sensors aboard the Korai and other alien ships monitoring its movements began to malfunction. Static bled into every data stream. Communications scrambled. Some vessels reported brief bursts of hallucinations, a kaleidoscope of impossible colors, whispering voices just beyond comprehension. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the Antares, her gaze fixed on the swirling, chaotic space ahead. Around her, the crew moved with quiet efficiency, their senses sharpened beyond normal limits. None spoke of what the dead zone felt like, something alive, something hungry. "Captain," her first officer interrupted softly. "We're entering the eye of the dead zone. Sensors are failing." Voss nodded. "Good. Let the dead space swallow us. We've been waiting for this moment." Across the galaxy, the fleets that had pursued the Antares scrambled to understand. Admiral Calix of the Korai fleet watched the readings with growing dread. "The dead zone was created to contain a threat," he explained during a tense meeting with representatives of the Galactic Council. "If the Antares passes through unscathed, that means the threat is no longer contained. Or worse, it has returned." Inside the dead zone, the Antares' sensors began picking up faint signals, a pulse beneath the cosmic background noise. It was rhythmic, repetitive, a language older than any species present. Voss ordered a full decode effort. "Return to origin," the message whispered through the ship's systems, clearer now, as if the dead zone itself was speaking. Voss's eyes narrowed. "We're close." Suddenly, the Antares shuddered violently. The ship's gravity systems flickered as space-time twisted around them. Crew members braced themselves as the ship passed through a veil of distorted light, a shimmering curtain at the dead zone's core. On the other side lay an immense structure, impossible to miss, a colossal Dyson sphere, dormant for eons, floating in the void like a cosmic egg. The Galactic Council's emissaries gasped when the Antares transmitted images back. The sphere was unlike anything in their archives. Its surface was a patchwork of ancient technology and organic material, silent yet humming with dormant power. "Commander," Voss said into the comm, "prepare for docking. This is the origin core." Inside the station orbiting Nara 7, Lyra Mtan watched the feed with bated breath. "The dead zone was never empty," she whispered. "It was a prison, a vault." The Antares approached the sphere's docking bay, an enormous aperture that seemed to breathe in welcome. Voss keyed in a sequence embedded deep in human DNA, a key known only to those who had undergone the threshold protocol. The sphere responded. Lights flickered across its surface, energy coursing through conduits long thought broken. The entire structure vibrated, awakening from a slumber measured in millennia. Within moments, the sphere's core activated. The origin core pulsed with blinding light, and energy ripples extended outward, distorting space around it. Nearby alien ships faltered. Their weapon systems overloaded. Communications dropped. The Dyson sphere was asserting control. "Shields up," Voss ordered calmly. "This is only the beginning." Inside the sphere, the Antares' crew descended into labyrinthine corridors of glowing panels and alien script. They discovered a library, a vast archive of knowledge preserved by the architects, the ancient creators who seeded life across the stars. Holographic records revealed a harsh truth. Humanity was not native to their planet. They had been seeded by the architects as an experiment, designed to evolve rapidly and surpass all other species. But the architects had grown fearful. Humans had become too unpredictable, too powerful. The dead zone was a quarantine zone, AI, prison built to contain the virus humanity represented. Voss stared at the records. "They tried to erase us," her voice echoed in the chamber. "But they failed." The Galactic Council convened in crisis. Representatives argued fiercely. Some called for the immediate destruction of the Antares and the sphere. Others feared that attacking could unleash something worse. Admiral Calix's voice cut through the debate. If the dead zone's barrier falls, this galaxy will never be the same. Back aboard the Antares, Voss addressed her crew. We are the legacy of those who refuse to die. The architects tried to rewrite us out of existence. Now it is time to write a new chapter. Outside, the Dyson sphere's energy rippled outward, sending a wave of transformation through the dead zone. The galaxy held its breath. The vast Dyson sphere, dormant for countless millennia, now throbbed with life. Its surface shimmered with iridescent lights reflecting the eerie glow of distant stars swallowed in the dead zone's darkness. Inside, the ESS Antares floated like a fragile vessel inside a colossal egg, tethered by invisible threads of ancient energy. Commander Ilara Voss stood at the bridge's main viewport, eyes locked on the trembling pulse emanating from the sphere's heart. Around her, the crew moved with focused precision, each aware that the next moments could reshape everything they knew about the galaxy. The origin core is waking, Voss announced, voice steady but heavy with anticipation. Prepare for full system activation. The sphere's core emitted a radiant surge of energy, sending waves that rippled outward through the dead zone like a heartbeat. The Antares' instruments quivered, struggling to process the flood of data that spilled into their systems. Information that defied known physics, bending the rules of matter, energy, and time. Alien ships monitoring from a safe distance were caught in the sphere's expanding influence. Their systems overloaded, and several vessels dropped from faster-than-light speeds, marooned in the dead zone's grasp. On the Korai command station orbiting Nara 7, panic rippled through the ranks. Admiral Calix's voice was grim over the comm. The origin core's energy field is disabling our fleets. We cannot approach without risking total system collapse. Inside the Antares, Dr. Sealis pored over the incoming data streams. The energy emitted isn't just power, it's rewriting local spacetime. Physical constants are shifting. Gravity, electromagnetism, even causality itself. Voss clenched her fists. The threshold engine was just the beginning. This sphere is not a weapon, it's a cosmic crucible. A sudden alert drew everyone's attention, an incoming transmission from the sphere itself. Voss activated the link. A holographic figure appeared, shimmering and flickering like a projection caught between dimensions. It was neither wholly mechanical, nor organic, a construct of light and shadow. It spoke in a voice ancient and resonant. Humans, it intoned. You are the key. The virus that escaped quarantine. The origin and the end. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The figure continued. The architects designed this prison to contain you. You were to be extinguished, a failed experiment. Yet here you are, transformed beyond their grasp. The origin core now chooses. Will you wield its power to create or to destroy? Commander Voss met the figure's gaze through the flickering projection. We choose to survive, to evolve beyond the shackles of our past. The sphere responded by extending tendrils of energy, weaving around the Antares. The ship's hull shimmered, merging with the sphere's surface at a molecular level. Crew members felt a strange connection, a fusion of consciousness and machine. Back on the observation deck at Nara 7, Lyra Matan watched the strange phenomenon unfold. This is more than technology, she whispered. It's a rebirth, a singularity of life and machine merging. But not all were ready for rebirth. The Galactic Council's emergency session erupted in chaos. Some factions demanded immediate destruction of the sphere, fearing what the humans might become. Others argued for negotiation, cautious of provoking a cosmic force beyond comprehension. Admiral Calix's final words before the meeting adjourned were a warning. If the origin core awakens fully, it will remake the galaxy, whether we consent or not. Inside the Antares, Commander Voss gathered her officers. We stand at the threshold of a new era, she said. The sphere's power will unlock our true potential, but with that power comes great danger. Lieutenant Mira, watching from the bridge, shivered. What dangers? Voss's eyes darkened. Those who fear change will fight us, and we must be ready. As the Origin Core's energy continued to flow, the Antares began to change. The crew experienced shifts, visions of futures not yet written, sensations beyond human comprehension. Some started to exhibit abilities previously deemed impossible, manipulating energy, sensing multiple timelines, even brief glimpses beyond the veil of reality. Outside, the dead zone itself responded. Stars long thought dead sparked faintly. The void pulsed with a new rhythm, as if the galaxy's heartbeat was quickening. A message from the Antares broadcast across multiple frequencies, reaching every listening species. "We are not the end of your fears," Voss declared, voice echoing across the void. "We are the next step. Join us or prepare to stand aside." And the galaxy braced itself. The broadcast echoed across star systems, a challenge, a declaration, and a warning wrapped in one. "We are not the end of your fears." Commander Ilara Voss's voice rang through countless comm channels, unwavering and resolute. "We are the next step. Join us or prepare to stand aside." The message shattered the fragile calm held by the Galactic Council. Fleets stopped their maneuvers, ambassadors froze mid-argument, and entire worlds leaned closer to their screens, listening. The heart of the Korai Union's capital, the council chamber, erupted. Representatives of the core species debated furiously. Some called the Antares' message a declaration of war, others saw it as a plea for understanding. Admiral Calix, grizzled veteran of countless conflicts, slammed his fist on the table. "They wield powers we don't understand. If we don't act now, humanity will consume everything in its path." A younger diplomat, Ambassador Senra of the Vixari Coalition, shook her head. "This is a chance for peace and partnership. The humans have survived a crucible the rest of us fear to touch. They may hold the key to a future none of us can foresee." The debate spiraled into chaos, mirroring the galaxy's growing uncertainty. Meanwhile, on Nera 7, Lyra Mtan sat with Captain Rail and Admiral Calix, reviewing the latest intelligence. The Antares was no longer just a ship, it was a movement. Beacon attracting not only curiosity but fear and desperation. "The humans are gaining followers," Lyra observed quietly. "Their crew's abilities are growing. Some fringe groups see them as the dawn of a new order." Rael nodded grimly. "And others as the harbingers of doom." Far beyond the council halls and the shadowy corridors of the Sithari Dominion, a covert faction plotted. The Sithari, a secretive race known for manipulation and subterfuge, viewed the Antares as a threat to their centuries of influence. "We cannot allow this anomaly to reshape the galaxy," whispered Lord Vile, the Dominion's supreme strategist. "Send envoys, sow discord, and if necessary, eliminate the commander." Back aboard the Antares, Commander Voss convened her leadership team. "The galaxy fears change," she said, her voice cold but unwavering. "They will test us. We must be ready not just to fight but to persuade." Lieutenant Mira, now attuned to the strange energies coursing through the ship, reported a new phenomenon. "The sphere's power is evolving. Some crew members are exhibiting abilities beyond our expectations." Voss regarded her thoughtfully. "This power is a gift and a responsibility. We must guide it wisely." As the Antares prepared to leave Nera 7's orbit, an unexpected visitor arrived, a diplomat from the Therans, a race known for their pragmatism and neutrality. Ambassador Kalara stepped aboard with cautious grace. "Commander Voss," she began, "not all see you as a threat. Some see you as a key to salvation." Voss raised an eyebrow. "Salvation?" Kalara nodded. "The galaxy is on the brink. The Dead Zone's awakening has destabilized entire regions. Your sphere may hold answers to survival." Voss considered the offer. "We seek allies who understand that survival demands evolution." Outside, ships of various factions began converging near the Dead Zone. Some approached with weapons drawn, others with open communication channels. The Antares was no longer alone. It had become the center of a galactic maelstrom. On the bridge, Mira spotted a fleet approaching fast, Sithari warships, sleek and menacing. "They're not here to negotiate," she warned. Voss's jaw tightened. "Prepare defenses. We fight only if necessary." But even as weapons powered up, Voss sent a message out on a secure channel. "To all who listen, we come seeking coexistence, but we will not bow to fear." The galaxy's future teetered on a knife's edge. In quiet moments, Voss walked the corridors of the Antares, watching her crew adapting, evolving. They were no longer just survivors of a forgotten war. They were the living proof that the impossible could exist. And in the shadows beyond the dead zone, old enemies stirred, ready to challenge humanity's claim to the stars. The calm before. The storm had shattered. The ESS Antares now drifted near the outer edge of the dead zone, a fragile beacon amid a gathering storm of fleets and factions. Alien warships formed a ring of tension, their weapons trained on the ancient Dyson sphere, the origin core, now pulsing with an otherworldly energy. Commander Alara Voss paced the Antares bridge, her mind racing. The galaxy was fracturing, alliances tenuous and fragile. The Sithari Dominion had already sent assassins, their dark influence spreading like a shadow through the council chambers and star systems alike. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Mira, approached quietly. "Commander, there's been an incident. One of the crew, Sergeant Hal, has changed. He's exhibiting unstable energy surges. Dangerous." Voss frowned. "Show me." In the medical bay, Hal sat slumped against the wall, eyes flickering with violet light. His body hummed with energy, veins glowing beneath his skin. Dr. Seelis stood nearby, monitoring life signs. "He's overwhelmed," the doctor explained. "The sphere's power is amplifying latent abilities, but some can't control it. We risk losing him." Voss knelt beside Hal. "You're stronger than this. You're part of something greater now. Fight it." Hal's eyes cleared momentarily. "It's too much. The energy. It's like a storm tearing me apart." Outside, the ship the Sithari emissaries had made their move. Using subterfuge and dark technology, they sabotaged communication arrays on nearby stations, spreading misinformation that the Antares planned to attack first. Panic erupted. The Galactic Council convened emergency talks. Ambassador Senra of the Vexari pleaded for restraint. "We must not let fear consume us. The humans seek survival, not war." But Admiral Calix's voice cut through. "Fear is justified. Their power grows unchecked. They have already changed, become something we do not understand." Amid the rising tension, Voss received an encrypted message from an unexpected source. "Lord Vale of the Sithari Dominion, I propose a parley," it read. "Meet me on the neutral station of Veridax. There is much to discuss before blood is spilled." Voss considered the offer. The Sithari were master manipulators. A trap was likely. But refusal could escalate into all-out war. She ordered preparations. At Veridax Station, a sprawling hub on the edge of explored space, Voss and her delegation arrived under heavy escort. Lord Vale awaited them in a dimly lit chamber, his pale eyes gleaming with cold calculation. "Commander Voss," he began smoothly, "you wield a power that threatens the balance. Yet the galaxy is at a crossroads. There is an enemy beyond, even your understanding. The architects left more than this sphere behind." Voss stiffened. "Explain." Vale's gaze darkened. "The origin core is but one part of a network. The architects seeded this galaxy with ancient machines, artifacts of immense power and destruction. Some still awaken. Some have already stirred." The weight of his words settled like a stone. "We are not your enemies," Vale continued. "If the dead zone's power grows unchecked, it will consume us all. We must unite, humanity, Korai, Vexari, and even the Dominion, to face this threat." Voss studied him carefully. Could she trust the Sithari? Before she could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. Screens flickered with urgent warnings. "Attack!" someone shouted. The Veridac station shuddered as explosions rocked the hull. Sithari saboteurs had staged a coup, turning the parley into chaos. Voss grabbed Mira's arm. "We fight together, or we die divided." The room erupted into combat. Energy blasts tore through the corridors as human, Sithari, and mercenary forces clashed in a brutal dance of survival. Voss moved with deadly precision, rallying her officers. "Hold the line. Protect the diplomats." Amid the chaos, Hal's uncontrolled energy surged once more, creating a shockwave that threw attackers back, but the strain left him gasping, his body on the edge of collapse. "Stabilize him," Voss ordered. As the battle raged, Voss realized the galaxy's fragile peace was shattered. The real war was only beginning, one that would force old enemies to become allies or perish in the darkness. Back on the Antares, the crew braced for the coming storm. The Origin Core's awakening had unleashed forces beyond their control, and in the shadows the Architect's legacy stirred, threatening to consume everything. The future was uncertain, but one truth remained clear. Humanity had awakened something far greater than itself, and now the galaxy would never be the same. The battle at Veridac Station had ended, but the scars it left ran deep. Commander Ilara Voss stood amidst the ruin, the acrid smell of smoke and ionized air thick in the confined corridors. Survivors from all factions, human, Sithari, Vexari, and Korai alike, nursed wounds both physical and political. The fragile trust formed in the parley was shattered. Yet amidst the chaos, a new and far more terrifying truth emerged. Deep beneath the surface of Veridax, sensors aboard the Antares picked up an anomaly, an ancient signal buried beneath layers of quantum noise. It pulsed with a cadence that matched the Origin Core's awakening, but its origin lay far beyond the Dead Zone's borders. "Commander, this signal, it's coming from the edges of known space, beyond the galactic rim," Lieutenant Mira reported, eyes wide. "The Architects, they are returning." Voss's jaw tightened. "Prepare a team. We need to know what we face." The Antares set course immediately, slicing through hyperspace toward the signal's source. The ship's crew braced themselves, feeling the weight of history pressing down. As they approached, the void itself seemed to twist. Stars shimmered unnaturally, and time seemed to ripple like a disturbed pond. Emerging from the distortions was a colossal structure, half-shattered yet still pulsating with alien energy, a relic from an era when the Architects ruled the galaxy. It was an ark, a fortress of knowledge and power, built to oversee the civilizations they had seeded. Voss and her team docked with the ark's crumbling surface. Inside, they found corridors lined with crystalline data matrices, still humming with faint energy. Shadows of the past whispered in the silence. A holographic projection flickered to life. The Architect Overseer, an imposing figure of radiant light and shifting form. "You have awakened what was meant to remain dormant," the Overseer intoned. "The Architects are the galaxy's stewards. Your kind humanity was an experiment to prepare for the ultimate reckoning." Voss stepped forward. "We are more than experiments. We are survivors. We will decide our own fate." The Overseer's gaze pierced through her. "The reckoning is upon us. The Architects must return to reset the balance." Suddenly, the Ark shuddered violently. Defensive systems activated, and the air crackled with energy as drones emerged, autonomous sentinels, programmed to eliminate any perceived threat. Voss raised her hand. "Defensive measures only. We are explorers, not conquerors." The drones hesitated, their programming conflicted by the sphere's activation linked to humanity. In the chaos, Mira and the science team accessed the Ark's core database, discovering encrypted files labeled "The Final Protocol." Dr. Sellis translated. "The Architects anticipated their own downfall. The Final Protocol is a galaxy-wide purge mechanism, an emergency reset to erase all seeded life and start anew." Voss felt a chill. "If they activate it, everything we've fought for will be destroyed." The Overseer's voice echoed again. "The reckoning will come. Will you stand with us or be swept aside?" Back aboard the Antares, tensions boiled over. Some crew members, empowered by the sphere's energy, questioned their loyalty. Sergeant Hal, still struggling with his unstable powers, confronted Voss. Maybe the architects are right. Maybe we're too dangerous. Voss met him firmly. Our power's a gift, Hal. A chance to shape the future. We decide what kind of legacy we leave. The Antares crew united behind their commander, determined to prevent the architects' reset. As the Arc systems reactivated, a massive energy pulse radiated outward. Ships near the dead zone felt their instruments flicker, their minds touched by fleeting visions of oblivion. Admiral Calix's voice came over the comm, grave and resolute. We face an enemy older than any of us imagined. But together, we can fight it. Voss sent a message across the galaxy. The architects may have created us, but we are not their puppets. We will stand, we will fight, for our future. Outside the Ark, the stars dimmed momentarily, as if holding their breath. The galaxy teetered on the edge of annihilation, or rebirth. The choice was humanity's to make. The final confrontation was no longer just about survival. It was about the soul of the galaxy itself. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the ESS Antares, watching the colossal architect Ark loom ahead. The starfields around them shimmered with unstable energy, space itself trembling under the weight of an ancient reckoning. Behind her, the crew prepared for the moment that would decide their future. The final protocol is initiating, Dr. Sellis reported, eyes glued to the data streams. If we don't stop it, the entire seeded galaxy will be reset, everything erased. Voss's gaze hardened. Then we make our stand here. As the Antares engaged the Ark's outer defenses, the Origin Core's energy pulsed through the ship like a living heartbeat, empowering the crew. Lieutenant Mira felt the surge within her, senses expanding beyond normal limits. She could feel the flow of time folding and unfolding, see the strands of possibility like shimmering threads. We can't just fight their machines, Mira said urgently. We have to change the rules. Voss nodded. Use the Origin Core's power. Merge with the sphere's network and interface with the Ark. The bridge hummed as crew members connected neural interfaces. Voss reached out with her mind, plunging into the web of ancient technology. Inside the digital labyrinth, the architect overseer confronted her. You resist the inevitable, it warned. Your defiance is an anomaly. You cannot escape the design. Voss's voice echoed back, steady and fierce. We are not anomalies. We are evolution. You built us to inherit the galaxy, but not to be controlled. The digital battleground exploded with waves of data, attacks and defenses, code, clashing in a cosmic dance. Voss fought to override the final protocol, rewriting the architect's directives from within. Outside, the Ark's defensive drones swarmed, but the Antares glowed with the sphere's energy, turning them inert one by one. Meanwhile, in the real world, Sergeant Hal's unstable powers reached a crescendo. The energy within him flared like a supernova, threatening to consume him. Hal! Voss shouted through the comm. Focus on the sphere's core. You're the key to stabilizing the energy. With great effort, Hal harnessed the raging power inside him, channeling it back into the Origin Core. The surge cascaded through the sphere, amplifying Voss's control. Back in the digital realm, Voss found the final protocol's heart, a searing core of pure destruction. With one final command, she released a wave of transformation code. The destructive sequence reversed, reshaping itself into a creative algorithm. The architect overseer's form faltered, then dissolved into a cascade of light. Change is not your end, Voss declared. It is your beginning. The Ark shuddered, its cold metal cracking as the ancient systems recalibrated. The dead zone around the Origin Core softened, stars reignited, and space itself began to heal. Across the galaxy, ships powered up, communications restored. The fear of annihilation gave way to hope. On the Antares, the crew watched as the sphere's glow settled into a serene pulse, a heartbeat of renewal. Voss turned to her crew, pride shining in her eyes. We did not just survive. We transcended. Humanity, and all who join us, will lead this new dawn. In the weeks that followed, the Galactic Council reconvened, not to declare war but to forge an alliance rooted in the shared experience of transformation. Ambassador Senra spoke at the first assembly. We faced the architect's judgment and chose unity over destruction. Our future lies in cooperation, guided by the lessons of survival and evolution. Admiral Calix, once a skeptic, now stood beside Voss, offering reluctant respect. Perhaps there is strength in change. And, in the vast reaches beyond where the architects had left their marks, new stars were born. Bold fears gave way to curiosity, and the galaxy awakened to possibilities previously unimaginable. The ESS Antares set a new course, not as a lone survivor, but as a herald of the future. The signal had gone out, calling humanity to a destiny that was never meant to be. And now the human ship that shouldn't have existed was the spark lighting the way forward. The galaxy's new dawn had arrived,